Hello and welcome to another deck profile in TCG Buzz. It's Jacob, and I'm here with my Vanguard Shadow Paladin Diablo deck. Most of the cards you'll see in here are originally from the Ren Suzugimori Legend deck, but there are other cards I've added into it over time. This deck is not finished, but it's pretty close to where I want it. So let's get started. My starting Vanguard, Full Battle Diablo. This card's a new addition to the deck. When it's retired by the effect of one of my other units, I get to Superior Call a Blaster Dark Diablo from my deck. Now we're on to the triggers. I am very triggered by these triggers. I have 2 Howl Owls. I have 4 of this generic, pretty vanilla critical trigger. I have 4 of this vanilla critical trigger. And 4 heals right here. Also vanillas, obviously. And then 2 of this stand trigger. So this stand trigger is actually one of the other recent additions to the deck, not from the Legend deck. When this card is retired by the effect of one of my units, it counts as 2 units being retired. This is a trick Shadow Paladins like to do. But it's really interesting because of its second ability. When this card is placed from rearguard into drop zone by the effect of one of my other units, instead it's shuffled back into my deck, meaning I get another stand trigger in the deck. So I really like that combo. Now we're into my grade 1s, and we're going to start off right here with my Perfect Guard, Little Skull Witch Nemean. I got 4 copies. They came in the deck. I could switch it out for one of the newer Perfect Guards, but I'm not going to, just because it works well enough. Then I have 4 copies of Pitch Black Sage Sharon. This card, when it's retired, counts as 2. That's really why I have it. It also can be used to search out a Blaster Dark Diablo by discarding another unit from hand. Then I have 2 copies of Dark Heart Trumpeter. No, sorry, 3 copies. Oops. Should know my own deck a little bit better, huh? And I have 4 copies of, I'm going to take one of these copies and look at it because his name's a mouthful, of Andrida's Battle Knight Claudus. And he's meant to combo with the first grade 2 of the deck right here. I have 4 copies of each. This card is, oh boy, Bloodstained Death Dragon. Dariel? So the 2 of them are meant to combo together. Basically, when this unit boosts this unit, and I have a Diablo as my Vanguard, they get a boost together that totals up to 22, and I get to countercharge 1. Next, I have 2 copies of Dark Sage Panzer. I hope I'm saying that right. This card, when it's in my deck, counts as grade 1, which some of my other units get to search for grade 1. So in a pinch, I can search for it as a grade 2 if I desperately need a grade 2. And then its other ability, when it's placed on rearguard, I must, that's right, I must, it's not an optional ability, discard a card from my hand and draw a new card, which I really wish it was optional, but it's still okay. And I have 2 copies in the deck of Dark Knight Maiden Matcha, I think it is. 2 copies. This card is one of those cards that lets me search out a grade 1. Oh boy, I feel embarrassed to reveal this card. Oh, I have 2 copies of Mark Lear in the deck. This is a terrible, terrible intercept card that when an intercepts, so there's 1 or less units in my back row, gets +10. It sucks. It really, really sucks. And to be honest, it's only in the deck because I was too lazy to switch it out this morning. But I am going to switch it out for a different card eventually. There's a double rare from one of the recent booster sets that I'll probably switch it for. Next, we have 4 copies of one of the main cards of the deck, Blaster Dark Diablo. And yes, this is a signed card. I seem to have really, really good luck with getting signed copies of cards in trial decks. Almost every trial deck I get has one. And my Legend deck came with this. So I'm happy about that. His G-Break 2 skill is really interesting. It basically makes it so you can discard any card from your hand, regardless of size, in order to stride, which is really, really useful if you're running low on hand size. And then when you stride over him a copy of Fanter, one of my strides, you get to retire one of your opponent's rear guards. Also really nice. Then I have these two cards in the deck, and they're placeholder cards. They don't matter, and I've never actually rode either one of them. They're really just there as stride fodder, especially until I get two more copies of this guy. This is Vortimer Diablo, and he is fun. So he has a skill when he's placed on rear guard or on Vanguard. I get to counterblast one, soul blast one, and choose a unit from the top 5 cards of my deck and add it to my hand. And then he has another skill that when you stride over him, I get to retire one of my opponent's rear guards, and if it's a Diablo unit, which they almost all are, I get to switch my deck for a grade 1. Then I have one copy of Dark Knight Grim Recruiter. This card's an on-hit stride that retires a rear guard. It's not very good, but sometimes I need to use it as a first stride. So that's why it's there. Then I have 3 copies of Dark Dragon Distress Dragon. This card is pretty crazy. You counterblast 3, soul blast 3. Yes, that's a really big cost. And then retire as many of your own rear guards as you'd like. And then your opponent must retire the same number of rear guards. Then if 6 or more units are retired on both fields by that effect, you get to countercharge 1 and soul charge 1. He gets plus 20,000 power, and you get to draw a card. It's situationally the best card in the deck. There are many, many games where it's completely useless, but it's there because it's fun. Next, we have 4 copies of Spectral Diablo. This card is one of the important strides in the deck. Its skill lets you retire 3 of your own rear guards and pay a counterblast in order to stand him back up with -2 drive checks. This is important because, well, you get a 4th drive check and an extra attack, which if you, on your first drive check, gets a couple of critical triggers, you put them all on him and he gets them for that attack and the next. Very fun. I haven't used him very much yet, but the games that I have used him, he is incredibly good. And then the real boss card of the deck, Dark Dragon Phantom Blaster Diablo. This card is so much fun. Basically, you pay his cost of retiring 2 of your own units and paying a counterblast. And if you do, he gets +1 crit and a power boost. And then your opponent has to retire their own units, or they can't guard your attack. They have to retire 2, which doesn't sound like much, but you have other cards that can force retiring. So if they have 2 or less rear guards when you stride him, well, guess what? They can't guard at all. So it is a game-ending card, and it is a lot of fun to use. And last up, we have 2 copies of the Fighters Collection Shadow Paladin Stride. It's not good, but it's a G-Guardian. I occasionally put some Cray Elementals in this deck to kind of supplement that, but currently they're in another deck I'm working on. All right, that is everything. That is my complete Shadow Paladin Diablo deck. If you guys liked this video, you should like this video. Surprise, surprise. If you like Shadow Paladins, you should tell me in the comments if you like them. Do you prefer Diablo, Revengers, Witches? What do you like from Shadow Paladins? If you're scared of Phantom Blaster Diablo, I don't blame you, but let me know in the comments. I love reading people's comments. And subscribe to TCG Buzz if you have not done so yet. And I'm going to go and wreck some people with this Shadow Paladin deck. If you guys have any questions about it, let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!